wildfire effect here, which is really cool, and it's crazy. It could double next year. I think there's a lot of good things in store for pickleball in 2024, but I mean, 36.5 million people playing. Pretty hard to believe, but
that's one to look for in 2024. I think that's going to be a big piece of how this thing continues to snowball and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because when parents see something that they can put their kids into long-term, literally for the rest of their life, and combine that with education, which is obviously so many parents are very passionate about, that's going to be a huge boost for the sport in general.
Yeah. Ben deserved that contract. He's done a lot for the sport. He's the best in the sport. He hardly ever loses. He also has a great relationship with JOOLA where they work together on the paddle design and stuff like that.
Well, we're here. We did it. Number one. It's going to be a good one. I don't know if this is the biggest story. This is on our list. 0-0 start. All right, welcome, guys. Brand new episode of 0-0 Start Podcast. Again, with the people I couldn't do it without. Jason, Kyle, thanks for being here. It makes my life so much easier, and it makes the listener's life so much better to not have to just listen to me for the next 15 minutes or so.
You're selling yourself short, Ben.
Yeah, I agree.
But happy to be here.
Or I'm just boosting you guys up because you're two incredible people and you do such a great job on this. But today we're going to do something fun. We're almost done with 2023. That's wild to even say that this thing is almost over already. A little scary. One more wrinkle for the new year coming up. But hopefully a lot of good things happen in our pickleball lives. We're going to talk about the top 5 stories pickleball related that happened in 2023. Now this list is a little bit subjective. I'm sure there's a lot of things in the massive boom of pickleball over the last year. There's a billion cool stories. We're going to pull out 5 that were impactful to the game, but also a lot of fun too. So Kyle, I'll let you start with number 5, which is pretty unbelievable to say that in 2023, and this is obviously 2023 is not over, so this number is going to be bigger than what it was listed at. 36.5 million people played pickleball this year.
Sheesh.
That's
crazy.
A pretty big story. It's the most that's ever happened. I'll let you kind of elaborate on like what you see when you're at tournaments.
Oh yeah, I've just seen a lot of competitive players at tournaments. I think I've been to probably 10, 15, 20 tournaments this year, locally in Kansas City and around the United States, and just so many different people playing at all different levels, which is so cool about pickleball. You can, all levels can play at all the big tournaments, and I think, yeah, a lot of people are getting into it competitively, and a lot of people are getting into it socially, which is also very cool. And then some people are really excited about growing their game and meeting people. It's just so fun to meet different people and play. And I think that's why I think it's just kind of a chain reaction. You've got people telling their friends about playing, and then they're playing, and then getting other people to play. So it's kind of like a wildfire effect here, which is really cool, and it's crazy. It could double next year. I think there's a lot of good things in store for pickleball in 2024, but I mean, 36.5 million people playing. Pretty hard to believe, but also, again, not hard to believe since it's such a fun and entertaining sport.
If you think there's I don't know what the census says on how many people are in this country, but let's say 330 million. Is that probably got to be close to right? That means more than 1 out of 10 people have played pickleball this year. And if you think how many millions of those people are 5 and younger, or 8 and young, you know what I mean? Or 90 years old and, maybe not playing sports quite as much as they used to. That's a lot of active adults playing the game. That's crazy. 36.5 million. And like you said, 2024 is going to have more than that. There's no way that this thing doesn't keep snowballing, like you mentioned.
Yeah, it's going to continue to rise for sure. It's a rocket ship right now.
Yeah,
it's a rocket ship.
Yeah, people from 5 years old to 90 years old, and pickleball, I think age is just a number. You could get people a lot younger than you beating up on you, or a lot older than you beating up on you. So it's a very humbling sport, and that's what makes it so the challenge. It's so fun.
And we're kind of in that spot too, where our ages too, like there will be people older than us smoking us, and there will be people younger than us smoking us too. We're not in that like good part of the zone where we can protect one side of this. We're susceptible to attack from the people that are a little bit older and the people that are a lot younger.
100%.
And you got so many people from different backgrounds playing pickleball too, which is really cool too. It's like a melting pot with different people, different sports backgrounds, different personal backgrounds. It's really cool. It's very unique.
Pretty amazing too. Like what sports? There's, like you said, there's so many sports that are coming into pickleball. Like it's cool to see the different things. Like tennis, obviously, is probably the best of the transitions. But someone who plays all these different sports, like they're really good at this, and it probably comes from their background in playing. Like lob this guy. I can't lob this guy. Well, it's because he played D1 volleyball, and the dude's got like. Springs, you know what I mean though? Like, there's so many sports in the game, you just don't know. And their attributes are awesome into pickleball because of what they did before. And it's not always what you think.
I mean, I punted footballs in college, it's like not even dealing with my hands. So it's like, I play a little tennis, but not too much, but it's kind of, different background football.
I just like when you lose and you kick it 662 feet in the air. That's when you punt the ball after you lost. That's what I really want to see.
How far I could punt a pickleball.
All right, Jason, take number 4, which is crazy to think about, but we also know, like anybody who's involved in this sport in any way, whether you're a player or you work in the industry, over 200 brands in the game, 200 brands making paddles in the game or in the sport somehow. That is insane. If you think like baseball bats or golf clubs or tennis rackets, we keep going down the list. I don't know. There aren't 200 of those. 200 brands in 2023.
It's unreal. And, I feel like that number is going to continue to grow on the amount of people that are out there producing their own pickleball paddles. Mm-hmm. I think it's, a testament to just like how addicting this sport is, that people are falling in love with it, that they want to be involved in it in more ways than just playing it. And a way to do that is to design and create your own paddles. So it's absolutely breathtaking how many different brands are in the space right now. But yeah, you think of newer brands that have just come along recently, like 6-0. They're new and they've done an incredible job and have released great paddles. And that's just one brand of many that have popped up here in the most recent future. And it's exciting because I think like all these brands creating paddles, it forces everybody to be better. Mm-hmm. They're all challenging each other to be the top brand and to have the best paddles out there. That ultimately, I think it's good for the sport that everybody's being pushed to be the best.
I agree. And 200, there a lot, there's a lot of the same stuff happening with paddle production, but there's a lot, that's 200 business people that are trying to push, and it's just going to create just a frenzy of new development and new technologies. So it's going to be fun to watch that thing continue. All right, number 3, Jason, I'll give it to you again, but this is a cool one. And this one I'm super passionate about. And I think this could be one of the biggest things to happen in pickleball in general over the next forever, basically. Nearly 70 colleges have either teams or have hosted tournaments. So they either have now pickleball is not an NCAA recognized sport yet, but this is a great thing to kickstart that. They either have teams or they have hosted tournaments. Nearly 70 schools across the country.
It's unreal that we're at that number already, because I still feel like pickleball has really kind of grown here in the last 3 years, especially that now we're finally starting to get some colleges involved in the sport. You think of the number we mentioned, the 36.5 million people that have played in number 5 that we talked about. And that is, pickleball has generally been viewed as an older sport. Well, now that we get universities involved, now you're going to start attracting more and more of the younger players, which we already have been, but now you're going to start attracting more and more. And then as that aspect grows, then you start getting even younger kids that have now can start having the dreams of playing collegiate pickleball as something as a very realistic future opportunity. So it's absolutely incredible that this is happening. I just think of there's Drury University, which is just a few hours south of us here in Kansas City. And they have come out and announced that they're hiring a coach, building dedicated courts, building a team facility, all that stuff. I don't know if they're the first to do it, but they're the first that I've really heard about. There's probably other universities that are doing it. And I just think more and more are going to start adding this into it, because pickleball truly is that sport that anybody can play, anybody can be competitive at, that it only makes sense that colleges have it, because who wasn't in college and didn't have a little competitive nature in them, whether it was being the best student, being the best rec athlete, whatever it is. Pickleball is a great avenue to do that. So to build it in the college space is just so huge for the sport.
And what you said too is I think spot on. And I was going to say it if you didn't, is that I think building a collegiate program for the sport, grassroots, that's the way to go, because there's going to, if you have cohorts at a college, guess who's playing? Because college kids, we didn't think it at the time, but they had nothing but time. They go to school for a few hours a day. Right. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I thought it was like, oh my gosh, when am I going to have no time? It's like, no, you get class for an hour and a half. Like you got plenty of time. So you have courts, they're going to play. Yes. And what happens? Yep. You get addicted in college and then you move on, and guess what? There's a million courts you can go play. But like you said, if you can do it in college, that's going to get every parent's eyeballs and ears on that sport. If you can do it in college, that means it's going to start filtering into high school sports. And that means if you can do it in high school, that means it's going to filter down into middle school sports and keep going down the list. And that's how you grow a sport, is having a collegiate program. I think is probably one of the most important things you can do, because if they have aspirations of a collegiate dream to play college pickleball, even if it doesn't happen, they've worked toward it. You can still play college pickleball because you have it at on campus. And then from that, look at what tennis does. Whether you played college tennis or you play club tennis in college, those people all have a place to play when they're done, when they've graduated college, right? This is for pickleball to have that collegiate program, whether it's NCAA sport or not yet. It's building the grassroots of the sport.
And you've got kids already that are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old that are already specializing in pickleball. That are this is what they're doing, and their parents are really excited about it, and they're really passionate about it, and they're looking up to all these pros. So I think that's just starting to happen, and the APP does that next gen series, which is really cool, and those kids are so good too, and it's fun to see. And yeah, it's great that they're doing college clubs and to grow the game. And yeah, it's going to only filter down to high school, middle school, and elementary school. So exciting times. That's
one to look for in 2024. I think that's going to be a big piece of how this thing continues to snowball and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because when parents see something that they can put their kids into long-term, literally for the rest of their life, and combine that with education, which is obviously so many parents are very passionate about, that's going to be a huge boost for the sport in general.
Yeah. It's going to build teamwork too.
Yeah, I mean, just think of the level of play that's going to keep progressing as the people that start playing pickleball, at a super early age. Think of Annalie Waters, for example. More people are going to start playing at the age of 11 or earlier than that. And she's already the best female player at 16. We probably haven't even hit the tip of like how good she will be once she gets into what most people consider your like athletic prime. So the skill is just going to advance as well, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. Despite, like you said, I mean, 5-year-olds are training, right? Right now they're training to play. They're playing 4 or 5 times a week. Those kids in 10 years or less are going to be absolute beasts. It's going to be wild to see. Speaking of absolute beasts, so moving on to number 2. This one was crazy, and this one happened six months ago or so, but still, I think it's one of the biggest stories because it had never been seen before in pickleball. Ben Johns signs a lifetime contract with JOOLA Pickleball. JOOLA's like 2 years old, and they signed Ben Johns to a. I don't mean that as a shot. Like they are confident. Right. They blew up. They're doing everything right, and they are confident in what they're doing. They signed him to a lifetime deal. The guy's, how old is he? 23, 24 years old?
Yeah, 24.
He's got 100 more years on the. They got him for 100 years locked in.
Yeah. Because at this point, I mean, pickleball has no age limit of when you can't play anymore. I mean, he could be out on the courts when he's 85 still, and at his abilities, he still probably will be churning out a bunch of victories.
5,000 triple crowns.
Yeah. But realistically, like he can play professional pickleball for another. I mean, who knows, right? And we just talked about all the young kids coming in, but I would say he realistically has a good chance to be one of the best players in the world for another 20 years at 23 or 24 years old.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what he does for the game too. He's so intellectual with how he approaches the game and thinks about the game. Seems like a great ambassador for the game and is very knowledgeable. And
he's the Tom Brady and the LeBron of pickleball that it has a direct vision for his body's health too, right? He's not just when I was 23 and playing the tour, I didn't care. Like I wasn't like, oh, I need to ice and I need to, recover this way and I need my oxygen level. He's got it kind of figured out. Like his body is young and it doesn't break down earlier, but he's doing everything he can to make sure he's playing 20 years from now at the highest level. So that was a crazy story, a lifetime contract. We don't know what it was worth. I'm super curious. I'd love that number to leak someday to be able to like break that on how much it was worth. But that thing has to be a strong 7-figure deal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's like what we make in a year, right? You mean Kyle?
Yes, something like that.
Oh. Wait, 5. Never mind. He's probably making a little bit more.
3. Whatever.
Carry the 6.
8 figures is more my number, right?
That's between. I don't know, Kyle. I'm not getting into it. But that's wild. Lifetime contract. I don't know what that entails, but for that to happen, that's a serious deal. Like that they see his value. Ben sees the value in JOOLA. That's cool. And I hope we see it again. I don't know right now. I mean, I think I could probably think of like maybe 2 other players that are worth a lifetime deal. I mean,
his brother's now Colin's on JOOLA too. So maybe that was a part of his lifetime deal. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I mean, or he's a stud himself and like they never lose together. That probably 100%. Had something to do with it.
Yeah. But to go to Ben deserved that contract. He's done a lot for the sport. He's the best in the sport. He hardly ever loses. He also has a great relationship with JOOLA where they work together on the paddle design and stuff like that. It's just, it literally is a perfect partnership. And it's incredible that they went to a lifetime deal because that's unheard of. But if anybody deserved it, he probably is the guy that would.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he's polished across every board. It's not only the best in the world on the men's side, but like you said, he's a very smart guy. He's easy to watch on the court, right? He's someone that everybody likes. He's an intelligent guy. He's got a background in engineering. He's well spoken. He's goal oriented. Like the dude's got it all and well deserving of this. But I just thought it was cool. Hadn't heard about it before. I mean, that doesn't happen in a lot of sports, let alone pickleball. It was the first of its kind, and I was pumped when I heard it. I thought it was pretty sweet.
To play at such high a level for that amount of time, like tournament after tournament, he's just up there. I mean, to do that consistently is extremely difficult.
And there's, like you said, or we talked about it earlier, there's a lot of new players come. You're like, who won that tournament? Like that, and then you watch them play. You're like, holy smokes! Like this girl, this guy, like is crazy good. I've never even seen him before, right? Like Hurricane Tyra Black beats Anna Lee, and you're like, do you watch them play? You're like, oh my gosh! Like she went from, kind of unknown to like, she's incredible.
Yeah.
So for him to dominate as long as he did, it's pretty wild.
He's getting everybody's best shot. If you think about it, they have nothing to lose when they're playing him. So in singles, when him and Annalie are playing mixed, and when Colin and him are playing men's, I mean, everybody's just unloading everything to try to beat them, and they just consistency, good shots, and gosh, they're really, really impressive.
Well, we're here. We did it. Number one. It's going to be a good one. I don't know if this is the biggest story. This is on our list, but I thought it was crazy. It got a ton of people. I thought it got more traction, comments, podcast episodes, videos, likes and dislikes than anything of the year. It was the merger, the breakup, and the quick turnaround remerger of the MLP and the PPA.
Start with this?
Was that not the craziest? we were like writing a blog. I remember like writing a blog like, oh, they broke up. And then like 24 hours later, they're like, oh, we're back together. I was like, no, wait, what? Now we just put that out there that you broke up and it's just dead. The blog's dead.
Unreal what's been going on with that. And now you have you got the payment structure of people blind bidding for the teams and stuff like that. It's been a roller coaster of a ride between the PPA and MLP. But I think we're in a good place now where they're together and forever. Fingers crossed.
Forever. Yeah. I mean, at least let's ride out 2023. At least we can keep that as the biggest story. If something breaks in the next 7 days, we're going to have to redo this thing and reorganize our list. Are we jinxing it by putting this up there?
Probably, but hey, we're here for it.
But what's happening with the MLP and the PPA? The merger, the breakup, the merger again. Like it's crazy what's happening in a good way. Like they're doing a lot of cool things that we haven't really seen in any sports, let alone pickleball. And I think it's going to be awesome to see what they have planned, because they're planning stuff for well into 2024.
Well,
so
we're all not really. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are surprised that it's gone back and forth, and pickleball is still in its infancy. So just to be able to, be a part of this and kind of see the growth of it, and they're just kind of ironing it out, but it's gonna over time that they'll get a good finished product out there. And you got to get the players first, and I think they've got that. They've got all the top level players and all that. The rest of that stuff will all iron itself out. So,
well, I was surprised, Kyle, because I wrote a blog that lasted 22 hours and 6 minutes. It surprised me. I didn't know it was coming. But it'll be cool to see what they do, because with the names that they have involved in the MLP, you can go down all the lists of all the crazy athletes that they have that are part owners or owners of MLP teams. It's going to be wild to see what happens in 2024. But just that whole thing, MLP, PPA, the owners, the teams, the restructuring your contracts, I think that was the biggest story of 2023 in pickleball. And let's keep our fingers crossed that nothing breaks and we don't have to reorganize this list and make everybody listen to the same thing again.
Exactly. Although, I'm always happier to hop on and chat about it. So if we need to do it again, I'm here, Ben. I'm here.
That's right. And we can always just keep the other 4 in there and then just switch number 1, and they can just fast forward to 23 minutes into the episode to hear the last one.
There you go.
We need something to happen because we like talking to you, Ben.
Yeah, it'll definitely happen. We don't have a shortage of topics that I could talk to you guys about with pickleball for a long while. But that was the top 5 of 23. I can't wait to see what the top 5 of 24 is, but that's 1 year away. So we got a lot of time before then. My guess on what happens is either July 3rd or July 5th, whichever one you guys want to guess on, becomes National Pickleball Day, where you don't have to go to work. You have to play pickleball for the whole day. And that extends the July 4th weekend to even longer. And it just becomes the best holiday to ever exist. Maybe second to Christmas.
I would fully embrace that holiday, and I think it would become my favorite holiday.
And it's just a guess. I don't have any insight, but there's a good chance that one of those days extends the July 4th holiday into National Pickleball, no work, all pickleball day.
We haven't got the Super Bowl Monday off yet, so let's work. But this is priority. Let's get the pickleball day off, no work.
I think it's going to happen. I think we should start the petition, but this needs to happen offline. I appreciate you guys' time. Top 5 stories of 2023. 2023 is in the books. It's almost wrapped. Let's move on to 2024. We can get a new draft going. We can get the new top 5 paddles going. We can get the best 5 stories of 2024 going. It's going to be a great year. I can't wait to ride into it with you guys.
Likewise, Ben. It's been a great 2023 with you.